now we go to the Sugar Bowl's 35th Annual Player Awards Banquet. Here's President Dr. Fred J. Jr. presenting the Sugar Bowl trophy to the winning coach Frank Broyles of Arkansas. Charles C. Zatterin Sr., Executive Committee Chairman, presents the Miller-Digby Most Valuable Player Trophy to Chuck Dicus of Arkansas. The Arkansas coach Frank Broyles and flanker Chuck Dicus with their trophies. Why don't you plan to visit New Orleans, historic city of charm and culture, the home of the Sugar Bowl?
Chuck, appreciate you making some time for us this morning. Hearing that, what memories are flooding back in your head right now?
Oh my gosh, that really did bring back some fond memories. I was just so fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. I've given credit over the years to the fact that when I came to Fayetteville, I came with a recruiting class and a team that was really better than most that we've had up here, and we all came together and played hard, and we won a lot of games. So, my memories always go back to that.
Chuck, what I found astonishing is kind of like Steve Atwater. We know him as this All-American safety, the smiling assassin, the NFL Hall of Famer. He played quarterback in St. Louis, kind of like yourself. What was the transition like? And you guys had a great one in Bill Montgomery. Chuck, what was the transition like from you moving to quarterback to wide receiver in college? And I know you played a little cornerback early on at Arkansas as well.
Yeah. Well, I will say that in my recruiting class, my memory serves me, we had 11 high school quarterbacks in that class. So along with myself, several of them were told early on that they were not going to be a quarterback, that they were going to be moved to other positions. Generally just with their overall athletic ability, that transition was pretty easy to make. I had played some defensive back in high school, not a lot, but a little bit. But my really love of the game, it kind of goes back to me catching the football, and I can remember when we were kids, we'd choose up sides on the playground, and they'd always make me be quarterback, but I really wanted to be a receiver. And so when they finally did put me at the wide receiver spot late in my freshman year, I was very pleased about that. I didn't have any grand illusions that I was going to beat out Montgomery as quarterback.
College Football Hall of Famer Chuck Dicus with us here on the Morning Rush. Obviously, this conversation sparked by the announcement of the game time for Arkansas and Texas, and just anticipating what that week is going to feel like. Give us a sense as a player, and then your years of service to the foundation that followed your playing career. What Texas week was like for you? What are your best memories of a week or the days leading up to the Texas game?
Well, as most people know, for year in and year out, while we were in the Southwest Conference, we played Texas every year. And that rivalry developed over time, and I still think it's one of the great rivalries in college football today. There's at least maybe a couple of generations of people that probably remember the 1969 game. Most people you talk to would tell you that they were at the game. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that most people in the country were actually watching that game because it was the only one on TV that day. The time and certainly the week leading up to the game was for the players. The coaches, I thought, did a very good job of sort of shielding us from all of the excitement. There were a few interviews and things that took place, but for the most part, we were only really exposed to all of that excitement when we would go to class, and our classmates would all be, talking about it and asking questions and things like that. So, the peak of excitement here in the state of Arkansas, I just don't think it could have been any greater.
Yeah. One of the neat backstories on the Arkansas-Texas series was the friendship between Darrell Royal and Frank Broyles, and bitter rivalries generally come with some hatred and some disdain for your opponent. It couldn't have been any more different between the two head coaches of their program. Give us some insight or a feel what that was like, or did things change game week, with Coach Broyles from your side of it, knowing that he was going to go up against a good friend on the other side of the field?
Of course, I've had the pleasure of course, playing for Coach Broyles, and then of knowing Coach Royal. They were both perfect gentlemen. They were competitors like you've never seen. They were golf buddies. Their wives were close friends. They vacationed together, traveled together. But Coach Broyles was intense, and particularly the week prior to the game, I think the intensity showed to all of us, the players and coaches alike. He wanted to win every game, but he especially wanted to beat Texas every year. And, this game was hyped up to be for the national championship, nationally televised. There were a lot of dignitaries going to be present. But Coach Broyles was a competitor, if nothing else.
Former Razorback, former college football Hall of Fame member Chuck Dicus here with us on the Morning Rush. Chuck, I think Hunter Yurachek said earlier this week they got about, 30,000 season tickets that they're still trying to sell. And I know that you're the former president of the Razorback Foundation. I know you probably still have friendship with Scott Verity, Matt Zimmerman, Quinn Grovey, and all the guys over there. What is your pitch, Chuck, to Razorback fans? I know we're coming off of a tough year with COVID, but what is your pitch to them, if you're still in that position, on why you should invest in season tickets for this football program this season?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think most Razorback fans can tell that we have turned the corner, so to speak. We're maybe transitioning into a new era. Coach Pittman has been very impressive, and his staff. Hunter Yurachek has done an outstanding job of putting together coaches in all sports. But what I would say about available tickets is that, if you're a Razorback fan and you don't have tickets, you might seriously should consider getting on board, because we all know that, once someone holds a ticket, it's not likely that they're going to give it up. And so getting tickets down the road are going to be much more difficult, if not impossible. So now's the time to get on this train and support this team this coming year.
What would a win over Texas, a 2-0 start, mean, not just for the football program and Sam Pittman, but for the athletic department and the university as a whole? Well,
it always means a lot. There's, to downplay that a little bit, but it is, beating Texas has always been something that Razorback fans, want to do. Like I said, that rivalry was born years and decades ago. But I think our fans would rather beat Texas than probably anybody. Now, I know that as the years have gone by and we're in the SEC, and that we do have younger fans that don't maybe appreciate that rivalry, and that's fine. But they would rather, maybe beat Alabama or LSU or Ole Miss or something like that, which is great. We need to beat them all, to be honest. But there's still a population of fans that remember the Texas rivalry and really look forward to playing Texas whenever we can. Yeah. And this year, I think it's going to be extra exciting to watch both those teams play.
You've referenced and brought up the 69 shootout a few times in our conversation this morning. You ever stop and ponder what might have become or what direction the athletic department of the football program would have went had the outcome been different that day? That was a major fork in the road, not just for the football program, but I'd say even for our state as a whole. You ever stop to think of where things might have been in the 70s and the 80s and beyond if that game that day had been different?
Yeah, just I just think about it virtually every day. So, but I kind of relate this, I think, to the success that Razorback football had all during the 60s, particularly the 64 season, because during the 60s, there were a lot of outstanding recruiting classes. And I know that our recruiting class was built off of the success of the teams, prior to us in the 60s. And I would hope, and I do believe that after our time at Fayetteville, that there were other outstanding recruiting classes that were built off of our success. But over a period of time, and particularly, once we moved into the SEC, the competition ratcheted up a notch or two. So it became very difficult to win, and it's such a tough thing to do is win consistently, particularly in the SEC. So you have to just put one season back to back and take them as they come. We've had some success in the SEC, but for the most part, it hasn't been what we all would have liked to have seen. So that's why I think that we've turned the corner, and that our fans probably see that and are going to be very supportive this coming year.
Former Razorback Chuck Dicus with us here on the Morning Rush. Chuck, 2 more questions before we go. I can feel a sense of pride in your voice from what you and your teammates were able to accomplish, teams after you, teams before you. And I felt like that pride was lost a little bit in the Chad Morris era. Do you feel, and have you talked to some of your former teammates, does it feel like Sam Pittman is bringing back a little bit of that Arkansas pride to this football program?
It does. I think if you look back over the last probably 20 years, our football program has sort of been on a roller coaster. And it to me, it really hasn't shown a lot of stability. I think a lot of people might agree with that. But I think that Coach Pittman has come to this campus humble and proud, and those are qualities that we need in our head football coach. He wanted this job, and now he's got this job, and he's working from sun up to sundown, trying to make it a winning program again, something that our fans can all be proud of. So, I'm just very proud of the work that he's done.
Chuck, before we let you go, you're the former president of Arkansas Game and Fish. We just got a chance to go to Gaston's a couple weekends ago. Of all the places that you fished in the great natural state, some are well-known, some are off the beaten path. Where's the go-to spot that if Chuck Dicus has a free weekend, he's going to fish?
Well, let me correct you. I was not president of the Game and Fish Commission. I was just president of the Game and Fish Foundation.
Excuse me.
But that's fine. I just got back last weekend from a weekend trip over on the White and Norfolk River. I'm a trout fisherman, and I'll always choose that over any other kind. But I've been to numerous rivers and streams out west in the Rockies and there, and I've always caught bigger and better and more fish right here in Arkansas on the White River, either below Beaver Dam or below Bull Shoals or the Norfolk Dam. It just really, it doesn't get any better. I mean, I think if a person really enjoys getting outdoors and particularly fishing and enjoys that, you can't do any better than you can do right here in this state.
That's right. I'm headed to the Norfolk River this weekend, so I know I'm blessed to have a place over there, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And
well, that's great.
It doesn't get any better than that part of our state.
Chuck, We really appreciate your time this morning. Former college football Hall of Famer, All-American at Arkansas, playing the wide receiver position. Chuck Dicus. Chuck, again, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, my friends. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.